We are now live. Hey players, my name is Josh, and for those of you guys that are new here, every single week I make videos sharing tips, ideas, and stories teaching you how to be your best self. In this live stream, we're going to be talking all about 5 common bad dating tips that people actually believe. Now, these are things that I've heard from other creators on YouTube. These are things I've heard from people in person, from couples, from single people. Everyone has an opinion on what you should do to improve your dating odds or improve your chances of being with someone. So in this live stream, I want to walk through some of the things that I hear people say pretty commonly that is just actually counterintuitive. It's not actually helpful. So I want to correct what people say, give you a different perspective, and hopefully change your mindset as to how you can go about approaching people that you like and people you want to date. So before I do that, though, I do want to jump in and say hi to all the people here on the live stream. If you're someone that's just tuning in, if you're someone that's watching right now, jump into the chat right now, say hi. I want to give shout outs to all the early birds in here. Let's see who we got in here, guys. Rage Master's in here. Rage, good to see you, man. Jalen's in here. Hamish is in here. Scott is in here. Alexander Cole, Michael Hofrichter. Michael Hofrichter, I think I said that correctly. Stuart Douglas is in here. Iceman. Yancey, good to see Yancey. Bo Scherer, Haley Davidson, what's up, Haley? Yving Leoshima, I can't pronounce it correctly. NS Fan, what is up? Andrew Dominguez, Day Video Studio, good to see you guys in here. Of course, I remember you, Iceman. You've been in a bunch of the streams before. Brotato Chip, Jones Walter, Noah's in here. Hamza's in here. I want to destroy generic glyphs. So the ball's starting to roll. Anthony's in here. Anthony Medellin is in here. Anthony Quentel is in here. We got a lot of Anthony's, guys. People are starting to roll in here. So like I said, I'm going to walk you through 5 common bad dating tips that people actually believe. These are things that I've heard people say that just, no, we should not do what people are saying there. I want to walk you through those things. But before I do, like I said, if you haven't already hit the thumbs up on this video, let me know if you're enjoying it, if you think it's going to be helpful, if you're excited for what we're going to talk about. Also, guys, I don't know why it's not showing there. Okay. Anyway, it usually shows the people there. Anyway, also, if you have a question that you want to ask me, if there's something on your mind and you're posting it in the chat, but I'm not really catching it, I'm missing it because I'm talking about something or answering someone else, you can always use the super chat function. That's donating $1, $2, whatever it is. It'll put your question front and center. I get a little notification that's a little fire emoji that tells me, hey, this person has a burning question. They need you to answer right now. So if there's something on your mind that you want my direct answer for, that you have me live, use the super chat for that. So I want to jump in and start walking through some of these points here because there's going to be a bit of a conversation about each of them. I want to kind of walk through what they mean and kind of really explain them in detail. So let's get into the very first point here, guys, which is this. Just be yourself and it'll all work out. Now, this is something I've heard so many times. In fact, this is what actually inspired me to really, really focus on telling people, hey, it's not about just being yourself, it's about being your best self. When I hear people say, just be yourself and it'll work out, things will be fine, it makes me cringe inside. Because what I read that as is that people are essentially telling you, oh, just show a bit of your personality, and if they like you, then they like you. If they don't, then they don't. And I think what this phrase doesn't focus on is recognizing that you bring good things to the table and you bring things that you can work on to the table, right? And when people say just be yourself, what they're not saying is, hey, you may be a fun and interesting person, but maybe you're a bit shy. Maybe you're a bit reserved. Maybe you're not the best at starting conversations. Maybe you're a little too aggressive when you speak. All these little things that we don't really catch or know sometimes when we're doing them because they're so habitual for us. We just kind of do them and we don't see success. When people tell us just be yourself, they're neglecting to say, hey, look, be your best self. And to me, what being your best self really is recognizing that you may be a fun and interesting person, but there are things that you can make small incremental improvements on. This is something I had to learn, right? When I was younger, one of the things I struggled with was kind of building up the confidence to actually ask out the person that I liked. I'd spend a lot of time. I played that long game of talking and texting and interacting with them, but making that move of actually going from just being friends to actually asking them out was something I struggled with because I was always afraid, oh, what if they reject me? What if they don't like me? What if I mess it up? A million thoughts ran through my head. So for me, to be my best self was to be a little bit more bold, a little bit more daring, a little bit less afraid of rejection or the fear of not being accepted. to put myself out there and to learn from that experience. That's what I had to learn. So look, and I want to jump in and do a chat poll here, guys, because I feel like it's such a common thing to hear. And a lot of times people may not realize that what they're saying just isn't helpful. Oh, just be yourself and everything will work out. Everything will be fine. But let's do a chat poll here. I want to hear from you guys. Has someone ever told you, or someone ever given you that advice? Oh, just be yourself. Yes or no, guys? For me, it's a glaring yes. I've gotten that advice so many times from people. But, I want to jump into what you guys are saying too. Anthony's saying, always be your best self. Yes. NS fan says, be your best self, guys. Yeah. And it's like, to be your best self doesn't mean that you are bad or unworthy of love or unlovable or not good enough. What it means, though, is that we all have little things that we can change and improve, right? Maybe it's how you greet people. Maybe it's how you start conversations or how you carry them going forward. Maybe it's not letting negative self-talk just totally destroy your confidence. These are small things that we can work on that are within our power. So when I hear someone just say, like I said, I'm just going in on it. When I hear someone say, just be yourself, you should always respond back, in my opinion, always respond back with, I understand what you mean, but I think it's probably better for me to be my best self, to really highlight and go in deeper on my great attributes that I have and to work on the ones that maybe I struggle with. So I asked you guys, has someone ever given you this piece of advice? Just be yourself. Here's what you had to say. Iceman says yes, he said. Haley said yes. Quint says yes, 100%. Hamish says, I'm still single and lonely. I hear you on that, Hamish. Jones says yes. Wavy says yes. Anthony, yes. Akumi, yes. Anthony Quentel says no. So Anthony Quentel has never heard it before. Dave Video says yeah, and it didn't work out. Rage Master says yeah, pretty much. Shadow Hacker says yes. Emma says all the time yes. Nija says yes. Guys, this is I think is such an important thing. We've all, for the most part, have heard this. Now, Stuart said, Josh, I actually disagree. You need to put your best self forward, but people need to see you at your worst. Interesting point, Stuart. I think you make a good point, and I don't think it runs counter to what I'm saying. I'm not talking about hide your sucky qualities, your sucky attributes, the things you struggle with. It's not about hiding. It's not really about that. It's more about recognizing where you can make improvements, recognizing that it's something you're working on, and taking ownership of it. When I say being your best self, it's not just, oh, if I struggle with conversations, I'm just never going to put myself in a situation where I'm in a conversation. I'm talking about taking ownership of the things you struggle with. It's that if you know that that's something that you're dealing with, something you're trying to work through, recognizing it, openly speaking about it, saying, hey, look, I suck at carrying conversations forward. I think if you can take ownership of that, the feelings and the emotions that come with that, then you can actually start working on those things. So I think what you're saying makes sense. I don't think it runs counter to what I'm saying, but I think you do raise a good point that maybe I kind of left out there, which is you need to look at the things that you struggle with. And just because you struggle with things doesn't make you bad or wrong, or doesn't mean that you should lie or hide them from people, right? This is something I think a lot of people think too, like, hey, if you suck at something, then lie about it, hide it. And I'm not a big fan of that. I think that when you lie or hide or pretend to be something that you're not, you actually hurt yourself because you're not being genuine in that experience. And a lot of times real connections form out of real, genuine interactions. So if you're playing a character, you're playing a role, you're acting in a certain way that's not really you, then eventually it's going to catch up with you. You're going to struggle to really have that deep connection with them. So, Stuart, thank you for kind of adding that amendum to the point that I made there. I think you make it, you kind of took it in a good direction for us to kind of really talk about that. I want to jump in and see what some of you guys are saying here. Let's see. Rage Master says, sometimes it's good to be yourself, but when it comes to dating, that's not enough. Yeah, and look, Rage, that's why I wanted to draw the distinction there. When people say, just be yourself, what they're essentially telling you is just keep doing what you're doing, and maybe it'll eventually work. But if what you're doing isn't working for you, then you need to make changes. You need to see where you can have those incremental improvements. So someone telling you, it's like you're trying to solve a math problem, and you can't quite figure it out, and someone says, well, try that formula again. It's like, well, if the formula you tried didn't work, maybe it's a different formula. Maybe you need to tweak the formula. Maybe you need to take a step back and really look at just revise and look at the whole math problem again. Let's see. Scott says, I agree. It makes it sound like you don't have to try. Yeah, that's another thing too. People kind of say like, oh, just be yourself. And what they should be saying is like, hey, it's going to require work. It's going to require change. It's going to require stepping out of your comfort zone if you want to make something happen. So that's one of the dating, I guess, tips that people share that I don't think they realize that it's not helpful in the way that they want it to be. I think it's just a nice thing to say, right? Like as if like, someone's like, oh, what should I do with my life? And someone says, just do what you love. It's like these are kind of empty statements, telling someone just do what you love doesn't help give them focus, doesn't help give them direction, doesn't help them see, you know what, maybe I love playing video games, but I want to be a firefighter. So maybe I need to spend less time in video games and more time just learning about being a firefighter, Like people sometimes get these empty general statements and I ain't about that life. Hamish, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Let's see if it shows up. No, it's not showing up here. Maybe this chat box thing is broken. There it is. Hamish, you should pop up in a second there. Hamish said, hi, Josh. I've been getting along with my mom and dad a bit better than when we spoke last on Hangouts. It's not showing up there. Sorry, Hamish. I don't know what's wrong with, I think it's just running slow. But yeah, Hamish, that's great to hear. I'm happy that things are going well between you and your mom and your dad. I know that for Hamish, just like a lot of you guys, struggles where sometimes he gets into arguments with his parents. Sometimes, he gets annoyed with them. Sometimes they get annoyed with him. It's not always easy as you get older living with your parents because, you have your own thoughts and opinions and feelings on how you want to do things, and your parents do too. And when you have kind of two people dictating what they want, sometimes you can butt heads. So, Hamish, I'm so happy to hear that things are getting better. And I can't wait to speak to you again on our next Patreon call. Okay, Rage Master said, like you always said, for those who are new here, my name is Josh, and every single week I make videos sharing tips, ideas, and stories teaching you how to be your best self. Yeah, I say that all the time. That's my opening piece there. But and that's the thing. It's all about learning from other people's stories, hearing other people's experiences, saying, hey, you know what? This person changed their behavior in that way and that worked out for them. What can I change in mine? Being inspired by other people's stories, I think is such a crucial piece to it all. Dario says, Dario, good to see you, man. Did you know that your fellow YouTuber Alex Costa has coronavirus? Oh man, that's really sad. I hope he ends up okay. I know that the numbers are jumping in a lot of places, so hopefully he gets better. Anthony Medellin says, even when I be my best self, it seems hard to have a normal conversation with a crush you like, since we must get along. Yeah, look. Here's something this is a harsh truth I want people to realize. And I talked about this in some of the dating truths video that I did a while ago. It's like, just because you feel confident and in charge and in control of your life and like you have a good understanding and you have a good direction doesn't mean that your crush is automatically going to like you. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to interact with them. They are their own person with their own thoughts and feelings and experiences. And no matter how much you work on yourself, it sometimes just doesn't work. Sometimes it is still awkward. Sometimes it is still hard. So it's okay to realize that while you may feel comfortable and confident with yourself, it's not always easy to start the conversation. So what I always say is take those small steps. Start small by texting them or talking to them in school when you go back to school. Start those little interactions where they can start to get to know you better and you can start to feel more comfortable around them. Azim, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Azim, always a pleasure to have you in here, man. Azim said, hey Josh, how do people move on so easily after rejection or breakup? I've come to realize regret hurts more than rejection. Guys, I'm going to say it again. Regret hurts more than rejection. I think Azim nailed it perfectly there. A lot of times when there's someone that you, in this context, I guess he's talking about getting rejected or breakup. So if you're getting rejected by someone that you like, if you're pursuing them and you're trying to talk to them, you're trying to build something with them and they just kind of shoot you down, at least from that experience, you know what it's like to actually talk to them and approach them, But if you never do that, if you kind of just stay in the waiting place, this waiting period where you're like, when's the right time to talk to them? When should I ask them out? Should I be their friend first? You just overthink it. Well, then you're going to walk away with pure regret because you never actually saw what could potentially happen. There's a million potentials, but no actuals. And rejection, as sucky as it is an actual. So I think that the way to kind of get past constant rejection or even a breakup is you have to recognize that if you understand what your values are, what you're looking for in a partner, what you want to build, and that person rejects you, realize, hey, we just don't align on values there. If you're in a relationship with someone and you break up, realize, hey, our values just don't align. We're not in the same place looking for the same thing right now. So I think the way that people can start to get past these things and move on from these things is to start to look at their own values and assess what they want in a relationship. I'm going to jump back into the chat before I move into the second point here. Stuart says, you should always try to impress your crush, but don't try too hard to get along with them, because if you're incompatible, it's not worth it. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's what we're talking about, this point of authenticity, right? Like, it's important to try, like, to make the effort to talk to someone or to send them that first text message. It's important to take that initiative. But if you find yourself constantly chasing someone for their approval, like I said, you're going to start to move away from being authentic, and it's going to be harder for you to actually connect with them later on. All right, I'm going to answer one or two more questions. I'm going to jump into the second point here. Let's see. Melvin says, hey, this is my first time watching live. I'm normally watched the day after. Awesome, Melvin. I'm happy to have you on the live stream here. Glad to have you as part of our crew, man. All right, let's see. One more. Azim says, some people say respect needs to be earned. Some say respect people. Anyway, your thoughts. Interesting. I guess we have to really think about and look at what respect means here, right? Like, I can respect certain elements of my interactions with you. Like, for example, if you're walking down the street, I can respect your personal space. I'm not going to walk right next to you, right? I can respect your personal space. I can also respect you by, if you are, let's say, I don't know, standing in the doorway of a store and I want to walk in, I can respect you by saying, hey, excuse me, can I head in? There's a motorcycle outside. I can respect you by saying, hey, excuse me, can I head in? Versus like just getting annoyed and being rude to you, right? I can be respectful in that sense. So I think that there's a level of respect that we should give to everyone in this kind of more general level. If you're talking about respect in this sense of like being accepting of what other people do, then it's a different kind of conversation, because it is important to have boundaries set up for different people. If you feel like they're not going to be respectful back to you, if you feel like they're not trustworthy, if you feel like they may abuse you or use you in some way. So I guess we have to dive deeper into what respect really is. All right, I want to jump into the second point here, guys, and that is this. This is another piece of bad advice, bad dating tips that people actually believe. People hear all kinds of rules when it comes to texting. Hold on, just a quick water break. I've heard everything, guys. Wait 3 days to text them. Don't ever text them first. Pretend like you don't know who they are. All these different kinds of weird rules about texting. And you got to dive into why there are so many weird rules about texting. And I would say the reason is this. I think that the reason why people say, oh, don't text the person back too quickly is because they're trying to help you not appear desperate, right? They're by them saying, oh, don't text too quickly, it makes it seem like, oh, you're not in a rush to talk to them. You're not desperate. You're not immediately going to try to text them. But I don't think that's actually good advice. I think that if you like someone and you feel like there is a connection between the two of you, and depending on how you got their number, that's a big piece. Depending on how you got their number to text them or their Instagram name to DM them or whatever it is, you should jump right into it as soon as you can to keep a conversation going. Here's what I would suggest doing. Let's say there's someone you're talking to and you're thinking about how to get their number. So you're talking to them and you're like, hey, listen, I don't know if the movies are open yet. All right, let's use, someone had mentioned bowling in the past. Let's say a bowling alley is open and you want to invite them to go bowling with you. You might want to say something like, oh man, do you like bowling? When's the last time you went? We should totally go bowling. Tell you what, here's my phone. Put your number in my phone. I'm going to text you to figure out a date when we can go bowling. Is that cool? They give you their number. Now you have their number. When should you text them? When is the right time? I would say text them as soon as you guys finish hanging out. Say, hey, I'm going to find out the details for bowling and stuff and let you know. But what else? What are you up to for tonight? Or what are you up to tomorrow? Jump right into the conversation, because if the conversation was going well between the two of you, the last thing you want is to create a gap where their emotional high can just drop. That way, when you talk to them again, they're not going to feel that same emotional high, because they're going to be like, oh, I forgot about this person. They didn't talk to me for a while. The heat in that conversation ran out. So I think it's way better to assess how you got that person's number, how you started talking to them, and use that as the determining factor as to when you should message them. Now, I want to do another chat poll here. And I want to ask you guys this. I want to get your honest opinions on this. So I want every single person watching, every single person, to jump in and just give their answer here for this chat poll. How long do you think you should wait before you text someone? How long do you think you should wait to text someone after you've gotten their phone number? What do you guys think is a good general rule? Now, I personally said you should wait as long as, there's no real time limit, but some people really do feel like it's easier for them when it's a day, it's 24 hours, it's 48 hours, it's a week, 3 days. What do you personally feel is a good time frame to wait? Or do you feel like it's not really time frame and it's more of like, oh, like we finished hanging out, I'll text them tomorrow morning, I'll text them tomorrow during the day just to catch up with them. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answers here, but I think that when people say, oh, just you have to wait a day, you have to wait 3 days, I think that what they're doing is they're getting you to operate from a place of not wanting to be desperate. And I think you actually appear more confident and not desperate when you are eager to talk to them. But it all depends on how that conversation last ended. So I asked you guys, what do you think? And here's what somebody had to say. Andrew Dominguez said maybe a day or two. Anakin said 1 day. Kai says maybe a couple hours, but nothing ridiculous. Iceman says I answer whenever I can. Sam Leach says, hey, good to see you, Sam. Devu says 30 minutes or 2 hours. Austin, I've never gotten someone's phone number. Anthony says I'm thinking texting them ASAP is the right pick. Wavy Matt says maybe like 20 minutes or within an hour. Haley says when you get home and get settled from the date, but that's from a girl's perspective. Haley, listen, I think there's a lot of guys here in the live stream, a lot of guys too that are young. They can really learn a lot from a girl's perspective, Haley. So if you have opinions and you have thoughts, if I'm missing something or I'm saying it incorrectly, share it from your perspective, because I think that you can offer a lot of advice to guys your age too that can also just be helpful. Emma says, I feel like to wait for about 2 or 4 days. Allegro Cuber says, it all depends on the scenario, but most of the ones I've been in about 1 hour. Noah says 1 day, any longer than that is long. Person will probably be not be interested. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Giselle says 1 day. Hamish says 1 to 3 days. Azim, thank you again for the $5 super chat pretty much. Azim said, Josh, some people, including myself, are too clingy with girls because we're scared of her attention going elsewhere or another guy asking them out. Thoughts? Azim, you make a really, really good point on that. I think that clinginess comes from the fear that who you're talking to or who you're with is going to somehow not be interested in you anymore, that they're constantly looking around for someone better than you. And I think that what we have to come to accept is this. What you bring to the table is your honest self, right? Your sense of humor, your sense of style, your compassion, your kindness, your hobbies, all the things that make you you is what you bring to the table. And if you're operating and living in a way where you're afraid that the person you're with is not going to want to be with you, then that isn't really a problem about them. It's more of a problem about the self. It's a problem with, I think, your own self-esteem and your own sense of secureness in the fact that, hey, I'm happy with who I am. If this person doesn't like that and they don't vibe with me, they think I'm weird, they think I'm silly, then that's it. Then they're not the right person for me. We get so hung up on wanting to have someone, wanting to be with someone, when the real question we should be asking is this person someone I can grow with? Is this person someone that understands me? Is this person someone I want to build my relationship with? Those are more important questions, and they have to start from feeling lovable just as the way you are. Because if you can't feel that way, or you don't feel that way, then you're not going to be able to feel secure in your relationship, because you're always going to think that they're looking for something better. All right, I want to jump into the next point here. Yeah, but I think a lot of you guys shared some interesting perspectives in oh, I left the chat. Hold on. Oh, I forgot to get up. Okay. Yeah, a lot of you guys shared interesting perspectives on when to talk to them. Darkest Night, man, good to see you. If you're a Chad, then yes, she doesn't mind texting right away. If you're not Chad, you should wait. Interesting. So why do you feel like if you're not Chad, you should wait? What would being Chad, and for those of you who don't know, to be Chad means that you have like a chiseled jaw, you're good looking, you're tall, you're kind of this ideal, all the best physical qualities. That's a Chad type of thing. You're popular, you're cool, all this kind of stuff. But that's an interesting perspective that if you're Chad, then you should text her soon. But if you're not Chad, you shouldn't. I don't think it would really make a difference, because I think that conversation is all about connection. And I think especially when you're texting, you can form a deep connection with someone without even knowing what they look like. So I don't always think looks should dictate how you text there. Dario says, I don't think it's creepy replying back on them, but it really depends on the person on how he or she feels. Yeah, I agree. Look, just because you want to text someone immediately doesn't mean that they're going to feel comfortable with it or they're going to want to carry that conversation then and there. Sometimes people want distance, right? A lot of times when you're hanging out with someone and you're talking to them, it's a lot of energy, a lot of high energy, and sometimes you do need a cool down period to appreciate that person, to want to talk to them again. So I'm not talking about talking to them 24/7, but I don't think you should follow any kind of weird rules that, no, you have to wait a day, you don't have to wait a day, you should wait 3 days. There should be no rules in it. You should text them when you feel like you really want to talk to them. Okay, let's jump into point number 3 here, guys. And that is, actually, I want to answer a few more questions. I'm going to see what some more of you guys are saying. Stuart was responding to Darkest Night and said, I think you're wrong about taking dating advice from girls. It's always a good idea to get different perspectives. Oh, I'm assuming Darkest Night said, Darkest Night said, don't take dating advice from girls. Look at what their actions say. I mean, I disagree. I think there's a lot of good girls, really good girl coaches and girls giving different perspectives on YouTube. Coco Chanel, I think, is great. I think she shares a very honest and real perspective. Nagin Dargahi is another one that's just fun and interesting and vibrant here on YouTube. I've done videos with them in the past, and they're just awesome people. And I think they share a different perspective than I may have. So it is good to get a varied perspective on different things like relationships and dating, on communication, because hearing from one person is hearing one perspective, and the more perspectives you can get, the easier it is to kind of suss out and figure out what works best for you. Let's see. Anthony Medellin says, it's hard when we hide our emotions inside of us from the person you love, but it's scary when we reveal it to others, and can be pretty awkward or scary sometimes when we ask them. Anthony, I think you make a really, really good point there. So many people are afraid to showcase how they feel, right? To be honest about their feelings. There's this stigma, this idea that, if you're emotional, if you express your feelings, then you're weak, or you're not good enough, or you're a loser, or you're, all these kind of negative things. I honestly believe that it's important to express how we feel, because in expressing how you feel, you're being vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, you're honest and you're open and you're real. And people appreciate people who are real, right? I don't think anyone here likes being around fake people. So if you're around someone that's real and they're going to tell you how they think and they're going to tell you how they feel, then that's a person who will give it to you straight and be honest with you. So I think that we appreciate that. But it is hard to do because there is that fear of not being accepted or being rejected by them. Okay, let's jump into point number 3 here, guys, and that is this. Hamish, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. Hamish said Coco Chanel is great. Yeah, she's awesome. She has great dating advice videos. Her vlogs are a lot of fun. She's just a real go-getter when it comes to making YouTube content, and I can't highlight her enough. I think she's great in what she does. All right, point number 3 is this. You'll just know if they're right for you. Now, I want to explain this one a little bit more because thinking about it myself, what does it really mean when someone says you'll just know if they're the right one for you? Well, when I hear this statement, I think what people are trying to say is that, hey, the person that's right for you, you'll feel those butterflies. You'll just know. You'll have that soulmate feeling. And everything I've come to learn about relationships over the last decade or so is that's not really what makes a successful relationship. Butterflies in the stomach, just pure attraction for the physical is not what makes a successful relationship. So when someone says something like, oh, you'll just know that they're right for you, what they really should be saying is probably, hey, listen, you want to find someone that you are attracted to, right? Like attraction is important. You are attracted to them, but you want to make sure that you guys have overlapping values and there's some level of interest that you guys share with one another. You both can talk to each other easily. You see that there's someone with goals that are similar to yours, like they're aiming high for the future, or, you both can make each other laugh. It isn't just about butterflies, right? Because you can get butterflies with a random stranger who you know nothing about. But that doesn't mean that the two of you will have a successful relationship. And I think a lot of times people jump into relationships with people that they just have those butterfly feelings for without really asking themselves the real deep questions. And those deep questions are, what do me and this person have in common? What am I hoping to get out of this relationship with them? What are they hoping to get out of the relationship with me? What do I truly like about their personality? Beyond their looks, what do I really, really like about them? Those are the real deep questions. But, people kind of, I think, play more to the Hollywood side of things. And I think Darkest Night, you might agree with me on this. I'm not sure that there is this kind of Hollywood ideal of like, you're just going to find that perfect person and everything's going to work out and everything's going to be great. And it's not true. It's not true at all, because every single person has their own perspective on life. And even if you connect with your partner, even if you're dating and things are awesome, it doesn't mean that you guys are always going to see eye to eye 100%. So I want to do a chat poll. I want to get your guys' perspective on this. I want to ask you guys this because this is a real genuine question. And then if you want to answer yes or no and then give a little bit of an explanation to your answer, by all means do that. Do you guys believe in soulmates? Do you believe that there is a soulmate out there for you? This perfect person that just you're going to have these butterflies for and they're just going to get you and everything will work out? Yes or no? Do you guys believe that's real? If I had to answer that, my personal belief is no. I think that you can probably have multiple deep connections with people, and maybe you want to call those soulmate type of connections, sure. But I think this idea of like this perfect person out there for you and you'll just know when you find them, I don't think that's real. I think that if you like someone, you have to get to know them better. You need to spend time hanging out with them. You need to spend time talking to them. You need to spend time learning about their values, because if you don't, then how are you ever going to really know if the two of you can build something out together? Darkest Night says, I've watched all those girls dating coaches when I was younger, every dating coach, and still got nothing. Then I came to the conclusion of the black pill. Hey, Darkest Night, no need to call people oblivious if they have different perspectives. No one's calling you oblivious, man. You're oblivious and therefore you'll get hurt and fail, but go on, keep listening to girls giving you blue pilled advice. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Darkest Night, I think you have your own perspective on things. I'm happy that you can share your perspective, but no need to call people names like oblivious and stuff like that. I think we're all just trying to share our own perspectives on this. I asked you guys, soulmates. Let's get back to soulmates. Do you believe soulmates exist, and why or why not? I want to hear your kind of perspective. Let's see. Wavy Matt says, you build up the special connection, you communicate and learn about each other. Unknown says, I believe that people have multiple soulmates and they can come in different forms, whether they be friendship or a romantic relationship. Yep, I think I can probably get on board with that. NS Fan says, if you're talking about someone you're going to get married to, then yes. Hamish says, yes, yes, yes. Haley says, I believe there are multiple people who you're going to think is your soulmate, but there's no such thing as a perfect person. Also, do you have any tips for long distance relationships? Yeah, Haley, definitely. And I think Anthony is in a long distance relationship, so he can definitely give you, I think, real on the spot, perspective on that. But what I would say when it comes to long distance relationships, there's two types of long distance relationships. The first one is that the two of you are dating, and then it becomes a long distance relationship, right? So let's say the two of you are dating in high school, and one of you has to move away for college. Now, in that type of relationship, I think that what you probably need to do is you need to kind of set up a consistent schedule where the two of you can talk to each other. Maybe it's, hey, let's check in with each other once a day just to talk, or a few times a week. Build consistency, because if one person is moving away or it's becoming long distance, they're going to start developing a new routine in life, and being able to work in time for their boyfriend or girlfriend is going to help you guys keep that relationship going. The second type of long distance relationship is when you guys meet each other and it's already long distance. So it starts long distance. This type of one is if you meet someone online and you start dating that way. If that's the case where the two of you met each other online and you started dating, that one's a little bit trickier. It is still important for the two of you to communicate with each other, but in those type of relationships, you do need to kind of get a better understanding of what the two of you have planned as your end goal. That means, hey, are we eventually going to be in the same spot where we'll be with each other in person, or is this always going to be long distance and online? If that's the case, you need to have that real conversation with them, because otherwise you guys may stay in it hoping, but have no real plan for how the two of you are going to come together. Scott says, no, I think people are more right for you than others, but nobody's completely perfect for you. You don't just know when you meet someone. You have to get to know them first. Scott, I think you said it perfectly there. You have to get to know people better. It's like we do look at this Hollywood movie ideal of like, oh, you're going to find that perfect person who just understands you, but it's not real. The fact is, it's like it takes time to learn about people. It takes time to understand them. Like if any of you guys right now were to get into a relationship right now, you're going to make tons of mistakes along the way because you're still learning about your partner. I'm still learning about my wife as we move further and further into our marriage, right? Like, we're all constantly learning and growing. And if you're with someone, you need to account for that, account for them learning and growing and being able to adapt to that so the two of you can work things out. I want to jump back in and answer some more questions in the chat here, but if you guys haven't already, hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. And something I want to share with you guys is this. Hold on. I'm going to pull this back up. Okay. So, I know some of you guys in here are patrons and YouTube channel members, and I want to let everyone else here know too, if you want to talk to me one-on-one every single month, Patreon is, this way is Patreon. Patreon or becoming a YouTube channel member is the best way to do it. I have such awesome conversations with so many of you guys. Stuart is a patron, Hamish is a patron, Azim is a patron, and I feel like every single time we talk that there are these kind of breakthrough moments in the conversations where it's like, oh, cool, this is an actionable thing that you can do, or oh, cool, that's something I didn't know, or that's a different perspective I had. And it's always great to talk to you guys. So if you want to become a patron of mine, you'll have your name featured in the credits of my videos. You'll get a little, if you become a YouTube channel member, you'll get a little icon next to your name here on the live streams. You can also use those emojis right there if you become a channel member. So if you're interested, check it out, guys. Patreon.com/the Josh Speaks, or just click the little join button down below to learn more about it. I'd love to have you guys on board. Okay, and then on top of that, sorry, got like an eyelash or something. I also want to say this, guys, that along with my videos, I also wrote a book called Embracing the Awkward. This is a guide for teens to succeed at school, life, and relationships. Now, I say teens, but it's also young adults because I do talk about my college years in there too. And if you're someone that if you feel like you're struggling right now to figure out your path and your purpose in life, what you want to do, if you're having trouble because there's no one right now that you like, or someone that you can actually find yourself being in a relationship with, or you're just struggling to meet people. I talk a lot about my own experiences, my own journey in my book here, but I do share a lot of actionable steps and tips on what you can do to start working towards being your best self. So along with watching the videos, if you want to just have something you could sit down and read in the privacy of your own room, just quietly to yourself, Embracing the Awkward is a wonderful, wonderful book for you to check out. Okay. There are a few other things I'll shout out, but I'll shout them out a little later. Our Discord, our after party. We got fun stuff going on, guys. So definitely hit the thumbs up button on this live stream if you guys are enjoying it. I thought I hit the mute button for a second. All right. I want to jump in and answer some more questions before I jump into the next point here. Let's see. Haley says, that helps so much. I just started my fully online long distance relationship. I really like this guy and we vibe so well and he's so perfect in my mind. I'm just so scared that I'm doing something off. I hear you on that, Haley. I think that what I would really, really recommend is, like I said in the past, it's like take the time to get to know him, right? Maybe that's a matter of using the 20 icebreaker conversation starters. I'll pull it up just so that you guys know. Haley, you might want to try using this guide as a way to just spark conversation. You know, the same way that we have the question of the day in our Discord, you know, like these are 20 conversation topics that you can just integrate into talking to him to really get to know him better. But like I said, really think about what the long-term plan is, because if you just started dating and it's online and that's how you guys started the relationship, you might want to think like, is this someone that eventually is going to live where I live? Am I going to live where he lives? You know, like that's something you definitely want to think about. Okay, let's answer one or two more questions and we'll move on to the next one here. Sam Leach says, given that there are 7 billion people on the planet, it's likely that there is someone that's 100% compatible, but the chances of finding them is so low, so we should work with what we got. Sam, you are 2 steps ahead of me, man. I'm definitely going to get to that point in a bit, and I'd love to hear the Darkest Night's perspective. I know that him and Stuart are going back and forth there, so I hope that it's a productive conversation between the two of you. Darkest Night, share your opinions, but don't be rude. Stuart, share your opinions. I know you got a mouth on you, man, but I know you're good, and I know that you'll talk to each other really well. Okay. Yeah, Anthony said, always have an end goal in your long distance relationship. Yeah, I think that's incredibly helpful. Nina says, Josh, please help me about how to end the relationship. He really likes me. Nina, yeah, look, I did a video on how to break up with your girlfriend. I'm also going to do a video in the future about how to break up with your boyfriend. I think that if you're in a relationship that you don't really want to be in anymore, maybe you don't like them that way anymore. Maybe you feel like they've changed. Ooh, sorry. It's really hot in here. The best thing for you to do, honestly, is to let them know that you feel like you've grown in a different direction and you don't really see that the two of you can build on that anymore. It's not something you want to build. A lot of times we're afraid to hurt people's feelings by breaking up with them, but the best thing you can do is to be honest, right? If you skirt around the issue, if you stay in a relationship when you're not happy, you're not really doing anyone a favor there because you're not happy and then he's in a relationship that he doesn't know the truth about. Azim says, why is mediated communication harder than face-to-face despite being behind a device? Seems difficult to keep a girl's attention. Yeah, Azim, I think that when you're talking about talking to someone through the phone, through text, DM, or whatever it is, I would say the reason why it's harder to do that sometimes is because there are a million distractions on this phone. Look, I'm live streaming right now, and there are a million distractions popping up. People messaging me on Facebook, emails, this and that, my phone blinking, so if you're trying to have a conversation with someone through DM and they don't really know you, you have a lot of things distracting you. Maybe there's a YouTube video that just got posted. Maybe their friend is texting them. Maybe they have to go eat dinner. So you only really get a small piece of their attention and you're really competing against so many things. When you're talking to them face to face, most of the time people are giving you their direct attention and all the other distractions kind of get pushed to the side a little bit. So that's why it tends to be a little bit easier to talk face to face. Plus you have a chance to come off more confident there. Okay, let's jump into point number 4 here, and that is this, guys. People say this all the time, and I know that I've said some variation of this, so I want to really be clear when I talk about it and say this point. Sometimes people just say, well, just focus on just being friends first. Don't even think about being in a relationship. Just focus on building a friendship. And I think it's bad advice. And I know that you guys might be thinking, but Josh, you always talk about try to be their friend, try to learn more about them. And I want to really, really share my perspective on this, and that is this, guys. There is a difference between aiming to be someone's friend and aiming to be friendly with someone. If you're aiming to be friendly with someone, that means that you're willing to get to know them, you're willing to spend time with them, you want to share a little bit about yourself with them. You're not talking to them for the sole purpose of wanting to build a friendship. You're talking to them by being friendly. You're talking to them because you like them and you want to build something with them. When people say, oh, just focus on the friendship, the problem with that is that if you're talking to someone that you like, you should let it be known that you want to build something with them. You should let it be known that you like them. Now, I'm not talking about outright saying, hi, I like you. Ooh. I mean more in the sense of being flirty with them, joking around, teasing them, asking them out, being playful in a way that they see that you see them in some kind of a romantic light. And so many people struggle with this, that they just default to I'm just going to be I'm not going to rock the boat. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to kind of be very, very simple and casual with them. And when you do that, you get friend zoned, right? You're only working towards being a friend. They have no clue that you like them. They have no clue that you want to date them. So when people say just focus on being friends, what they're essentially telling you is you're going to get friend zoned. So I think what you should do instead is this: be friendly with people, work towards building a friendship, but there's a huge but there. Make sure that the intentions of wanting to date them are known. So how does that look? What does that look like in real life? Well, I would say that if you're talking to someone that you like, and you're learning about them, you're asking them about what their hobbies are, what they like to do for fun, all these different things, you might want to say, they share something cool with you. Oh, you both have the same favorite band in common. You might say, that's awesome. Listen, we definitely have to hang out sometime. I want to learn more about you. There's just something about you that I really like. Saying these little things will help that person start to see, oh, maybe they do view me in a romantic light. And they're not going to immediately friend zone you in their mind. So like I said, people say these things, people say that kind of very casually, not knowing that they might be setting you up to be friend zoned. But I want to ask you guys this. I want to get a chat poll going here. We got 57 people watching. I want 57 people responding in the chat right now. Every single one of you guys, this is what I want you guys to share. I'm going to ask you this question. Do you feel like you have worked towards being friends with your crush or friendly with your crush? Like I said, friendly means that you interact with them with the intention of showing them that you like them. So do you feel like you've built more of that friend-zoney friendship, or you've built that friendly type of romantic relationship? I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. I used to make this mistake all the time when I was younger. I was shy and timid, and I thought, oh, little baby steps, and I'm not going to let them know that I like them. I'm not going to let them even be aware of the fact that I want to date them, because what if they don't like me back? And I ruined it for myself. Stuart says, never settle for anyone. If you don't love someone 100%, then that's disrespectful to them, but it's also disrespectful to yourself because you're settling for less than you deserve. Yeah, I agree, Stuart. I agree with you on that. I would say this, that I think that to some degree, you're not always going to love someone a full 100%, because look, people may have quirks and things you don't like. And to some degree, you become okay with them, right? It's like the same way that you have your friends. Yeah, your friends, you love them to death and they're your best friends, but maybe they do some things that are annoying to you, and that's okay. So it's like, but I understand your sentiment that you should genuinely love and care about that person. Because if you don't, you're not doing anyone any favors. So I asked you guys, do you feel like you've built a more friendly relationship or just a friend zone type of relationship? Here's what you guys had to say. Andrew says friendly, I would say. Shadow Hacker says friendly. Wavy says friendly. Rage says trying to be friendly. Dario says friendly. Let's see. Haley says, I think we definitely were friendly at first. It was flirty from the get-go. Yeah, Haley, and that's a good point there. It's like you wanted to be flirty from the get-go, because that helps both people see that you guys, you're into them. Because if you leave that flirtiness out, then they're only going to think, oh, they're just talking to me like a friend, and that's all they're going to be in my mind. So if you don't want to fall into that category, you need to kind of let your intentions be shown rather than just outright saying, I like you. Let's see. Friendly, I'm seeing friendly. I'm seeing a lot of people responding in here. Awesome, guys. Anthony James says, friends, because she's dating my friend, Ben, and I don't want Ben to find out I like his girlfriend. Yeah, that's always a tricky one when you like someone's girlfriend like that. It's, like you have to kind of, like I said, the way you interact with them changes. Stuart says, nah, I'm always flirting with everyone. Keep your options open. I agree with you on that, Stuart. Let's see. Raul H says, kind of both. I did speak to them recently and cleared it up. Yeah, oh, that's good. Darkest Night said, I gave up entirely. I've tried it all. Darkest Night, this is one of my problems with people who say, like, I've done it all. I've tried it all. It's that, it's like there's no, like, checklist of, like, try to be funny, try to be kind, try to be flirty, and you check it off and it doesn't work and that's it. It's done. It's like I think about like a comedian, right? Let's say a comedian goes up on stage and a comedian tells a joke and no one laughs at the joke. He has a few different options. He may say, you know what, let me revise the joke. Let me write it differently. Let me tell it differently. Or he may say, you know what, let me scrap the joke and try something else. What you're essentially saying is, I've gone up to do comedy and I've tried every possible joke and that's it. No one will laugh. I've tried every joke. And it's like, is that realistic for a comedian to try every possible joke? No. It's like you just modify and you change and you try different things, or you learn new things, you incorporate that. This idea of like, I tried it all and it failed, it's not a realistic way to look at anything in life. Music Man said, Josh, this was great, but I have to go. I'll text you later. No problem. Shoot me a text, man. Let me know how it goes. Dave Video says, what also should be said is to give any girl a chance. I'm not saying try to date every single girl, but the important thing is to find things in common first. Absolutely, Dave Video. I think you make a really good point. Sometimes we have such high standards that we psych ourselves out. So instead of giving someone a chance and really taking time to get to know them, we, in our minds, assume they're this way, they think this way, they act this way, they're not going to like me. We assume all these things. Sometimes it's important to give people chances, to let them show you who they are, let them show you what they like, let them show you what they think. Because otherwise, it's like you are assuming for them, and that's not a good direction to take. Okay, I want to share a few more things here, guys, and that is this. We have an awesome community. I know a bunch of you are already on it, so if you are part of our Discord, give a thumbs up right now in the chat. Everyone who's part of the Discord, give a thumbs up in the chat. I want to see who's true Discord people up in here. But yeah, guys, our Discord is an awesome place. Darkest Night, download Discord, man. Join the Discord. I'd love to have you in there as part of the conversation. Just so you can share your perspective too, but what's cool about our Discord is that it's just an awesome community. We have great people in there that are just super friendly, super kind, super understanding. We have awesome boards that are just really funny. People make memes of me all the time. Dono the Gamer specifically makes memes of me all the time. It's a great place to make friends, to share your thoughts, to ask for advice. When I'm not available, that's the next best place, I would say, to talk to people that are also working towards being their best selves. So definitely check out the Discord. I'd love to have you guys as part of it. Anthony James is in there. Anthony Quentel is in there. Wavy Mats is in there. The other Anthony's in there. I know Hamish is in there. I know Haley is in there. Haley says, Discord squad, baby. Absolutely, guys. Wavy Matt says, I will. Ziga Kovac, I think I said that correctly, gave a thumbs up. Yeah, Rage Master says, Discord. Yeah, guys, our Discord is awesome. You need to be part of it. That's all I'm saying. And the last thing I want to say is this, guys, that after this live stream, you guys know what's up. We have our after party over on Instagram. The Instagram after party is cool because what I like to do is bring you guys on to video chat with me. So if you want to jump on Instagram and just talk to me there, do that. Hit the little video request button, jump on, we'll talk. It's a more laid back stream. All of you guys are invited to the after party. It's a more laid back stream where, you can talk about anything on your mind. There's no theme or topic. Anything that comes to mind for you, we'll talk about it. Anthony says, is there a link to join in? For the Instagram after party, just follow me over on Instagram. My tag is @thejoshspeaks, and I think that you'll really, really have a good time. Okay. Let's get on to the fifth point here, guys, and that is, did I cover point number 4? Yes, we did. Point number 5 is this. One of the pieces of advice that people give a lot is there's someone out there for everyone. Now, I'm not saying this to be bleak or to bring down the mood of everything. I actually think it's kind of hopeful. And the reason why I say this is that people will say there's someone out there for everyone, implying that you will find someone just out there. They'll come into your life. They'll just be there. And the truth of the matter is, and I think Scott was the one who said it before, that if you want to find a partner, if you want to find someone you can be in a relationship with, it's going to require work. You're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to meet people. You're going to have to fail. You're going to have to get rejected. You're going to have to step out of your comfort zone and change. Finding a person that works for you is not just choosing the first person that comes along. This idea that there's someone out there for everyone, maybe, but maybe not. Not every single person ends up in a relationship, right? I did a live stream, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, going through some dating statistics, and I think it was about 40% of people over the age of 30 or so, 18 to 30 are single, and they're happy, and they're fine. They're doing good, and they're living their lives. So this idea that there is someone out there for everyone, maybe or maybe not, right? Like Scott said, there's 7 billion people on this planet, right? Cut that in half. If you're, let's say, dating, if you're a guy going for a girl going for a guy, 3.5 billion people. Now, bring it down to the amount of people in your country. There's 300 million people in the U.S. Let's assume 150 million of those are the opposite sex. And then, I don't know, wherever you live, maybe there's 100,000 people, 5,000, 100, I don't know, whatever it is. The point is that there's so many opportunities for you to step out of your comfort zone, maybe go to a different location, different state, different city, different area, join an organization, do something with your school, do something with your college classes, do something with, community groups in your area, find people online. There's so many opportunities to meet people that, yes, while there can be someone out there for everyone, it doesn't mean that they're just going to fall into your lap. So what I want you guys really to do is to go out there and find someone that you like, find someone that you want to talk to, find someone that you're interested in. But in order to do that, you need to first, and goes back to what Azim said there, you need to first believe in yourself. You need to first feel like you bring something valuable to the table, that you're worth it, that you're good enough. Because if you don't believe that, if you are worried that people are just not going to like you for who you are and you're just not good, well, then you're never going to find a person to accept you if you can't accept yourself. So I want you guys to really think about that. When I cover that 5th point, when I say, people always say, oh, there's someone out there for everyone, they speak so passively. They speak as if like that person is going to fall in your lap, guys, and you really need to think about it. You really need to realize that it's going to require work. It's going to require heartbreak and heartache, but you're going to learn along the way, which is the most important thing. Darkest Night says, Josh, I know that fact. They aren't happy. There are multiple people from age 30, single and sexless. It's because the incel problem is going to get worse. I don't know about that, actually, because let me see if I can pull it up. No, wrong thing. Yeah, so I just had it on hand here. So, like I said, half of 18 to 34-year-olds have no steady partner. Half of the people have no steady partner. And from polling, it shows that people have deprioritized relationships and maybe they've just focused on they're okay with being single for longer, essentially, right? So people are going into their 30s still single saying, yeah, that's fine. I got time. I'll figure out a relationship later. So Darkest Night, I understand the incel problem that exists, but I don't think that it prohibits people from being happy because while I understand being in a relationship and having a partner is part of happiness, it's not the full extent of being happy. So I think that there's more to it than that. Red Lightning says, who needs relationships? Be your best self. And look, like I said, it all depends on what you want. You can be happy and you can be single. You can be happy and in a relationship. But don't rest on the idea that someone is going to fall from the sky into your lap. You need to kind of put the work in and learn about yourself if you want to grow. Let's see. I want to read what some more of you guys are saying here. I'm going to answer some questions before I start to wrap it up. Azim says, what if they give you what if they give you weird face when you change the tone of conversations to hint your feelings? Battle with dreaded friend zone. Azim, that's a really good point. So if you are kind of going from being friendly to like, maybe we should go out on a date sometime, and they just kind of give you that type of face. I think the best thing for you to do really is you got to realize that it starts at the beginning. It starts with you establishing some type of romantic connection with them rather than just bringing that on later. Because when you bring it on later, what they start to see is, wait a second, I thought you were my friend. Now you like me? Were you lying to me the whole time? So you need to establish it from the beginning. Scott says, perhaps more difficult for LGBT plus as statistically less people. That is very true. You might have to try to engage with groups with these people in them as less likely they'll just walk into your life. Absolutely. I think that within the LGBT plus community, it's like you definitely have a narrower pathway to find someone that you can connect with. So that's why I think it's the best thing you can do is join organizations, join groups, find communities, find online communities, find, places where you can interact with people that can help cluster in people that are similar to your liking there and making it easier. Hamish said autism group on Discord should be made. Hamish, I think that's a really good idea. We have an LGBT plus group. We have a vegan group. We can maybe create an autism group in there. We'll talk to the mods and see. Hamish, add it to the community suggestions and we'll figure it out from there. Darkest Night says, Josh, I want to debate with you on the phone tomorrow. If you have time, I can disprove anything you say. Darkest Night, jump on Instagram with me right after this and we'll talk there. Okay, let's answer some more questions before I walk through the points again, and then we hear the bell. Jalen says, I really feel like I like this crush, and I like so many girls over the years, and I hope I can have a chance with this one, but I have time. I'm only 17. Jalen, I agree with you on that. Look, by the time I was 17, I had so many crushes. There were so many girls that I liked, so many girls I wanted to date. You have so much time. Like, looking at my life from 17 to now, it's not even comparable to before 17. As you get older, Jalen, you're going to meet new people. You're going to enter new environments. You're going to discover new things about yourself. Don't give up. Don't lose hope, Jalen. There are so many people out there that I think could be helpful for you. Emma says, how about a Down syndrome group? I'm wondering if maybe we should make a group. I'm trying to think because I think we might end up making lots of different groups that I'd rather have one central group. I don't know what we can call it or what we can have in there. I don't know. We'll think about the name on that in the Discord. But that's a good idea too, Emma. Darius says, Nike, just do it. Yeah. Stuart says, relationships aren't at all key to happiness. I agree. They cause it, but if you need a relationship to be happy, then you shouldn't be in one. Yep. Stuart's 100% right, guys. If your only sense of happiness comes from being in a relationship, then you don't value yourself that much. Because if you don't have a partner, then what happens to your value? You need to have your own sense of value, and you bring that into a relationship, and being in that relationship can enhance it, but it shouldn't define it. Okay, guys, I'm going to walk you through the 5 points again before we get to the bell. This whole live stream was all about sharing 5 common bad dating tips that people actually believe. These are common things that people have said, and people internalize them and believe them to be real. Life ain't a fairy tale. Life ain't Hollywood. Life is not a Disney story. So let's walk through some of the things that people think. People will say things like, just be yourself and it'll all work out. Well, I think the truth is that it's more than just being yourself. It's being your best self. It's recognizing what you bring to the table and who you are, emphasizing and highlighting your best qualities, and working on the qualities that you feel you struggle with. if you struggle with talking to people, if you struggle with jealousy or insecurity, acknowledge those things. Be accepting of them, being part of your life, and work on just feeling comfortable with who you are while making those small changes so that you can be somebody great. Point number 2 is this. People say all the time, oh no, don't text the person back too quickly. You'll come off needy. Well, I think that if you really like someone, if you want to talk to them, if you want to build a deeper connection with them, then text them as soon as you can, because you want to keep that high going. You want to keep that positivity train going in that conversation with them. Shooting them a text right after you hang out saying, I had such a good time tonight, that was so much fun, can really lift their day, can really brighten their day and show them that you didn't forget about them. You didn't just move on with your life. You kind of accept that you enjoyed that experience with them. So text them as soon as you can. Don't take this, you should wait a day, you should wait 2 days, none of that stuff. And thank you, Azim. Before I get into point number 3 for a review, Azim, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I really, really appreciate it, Azim. I'm going to dive into your question here. You said, Josh, I had a dream last night where I ran into my crush and we had a good conversation about some misunderstandings. We had such as the whole stalking thing. We eventually made plans to hang out. Signify? So, Azim, let's really dive in. Let's talk about dreams here, guys. And I'm curious, guys. I'll do a chat poll just to ask you guys. Thank you for the $10 super chat, guys. Have you guys ever had a dream about your crush before? I'm just curious. I just want to know where you guys stand. But Azim, having that dream about your crush and kind of rectifying and fixing things, what I think that might mean is this. It might mean that there's a part of you that is still hanging on to that memory of wanting things to be okay, right? It's hard for us to accept that things are not good between us and someone else, right? We don't ever like the idea of someone not liking us. It makes us feel weird. It makes us feel like, oh no, I just want to change it. But I think that the reason why it's popping up in your dreams is because it's something that is maybe more difficult for you to kind of let go and to accept that, hey, I can't do anything about it right now. So I think that it's important to recognize when you have those dreams. Like I said, dreams don't always signify that you should or shouldn't do something. They're simply just your subconscious kind of creating an image and a story for you. But I think ultimately what you should focus on, Azim, is, look, you probably have some feelings after waking up from that dream, like, wow, if we made up, it'd be so good. Enjoy those feelings. Feel them. But recognize, okay, what can you do? What's within your power right now? If talking to your crush is not within your power and fixing that with her is not in your power, then don't focus your attention on it. Focus on what is within your power. And what's within your power is you can talk to people online, you can make friends, you can exercise, you can eat healthy, you can read, you can learn to play an instrument, you can make YouTube videos, you can do a million things that are within your power that you can have control over. And that's something I think that's a better use of your time. So enjoy the feelings. Like I said, I've had dreams where I wake up and it's like, oh man, I get that, but try to think about, okay, well, what can I actually do about it? If I can't talk to her, can't do anything with it, then I have to just accept and let it go. All right, I asked you guys there, have you ever had a dream about your crush? I'm seeing yes all across the board here. Yes. All right, back to point number 3 here, guys. We're reviewing the points. Thank you again, Azim, for the $10 super chat. You'll just know if they're right for you, right? People have this, you'll just know, as if like somehow you're just immediately going to have butterflies and things are going to go super well with you and that person. But a lot of times people meet people that they date and they don't feel that immediate spark. That spark takes time to develop. It takes some time to get to know that person, to see what they have in common, to see what they like about them, and to then eventually to realize that, wow, this is a person I want to date. This is a person I like, a person I want to get to know. So don't follow this advice that you'll just know that they're right for you. You have to investigate. You need to learn about them. You need to kind of see if they're right for you. That, I think, is a way better way to go about it. Point number 4 here is this. People say all the time, just focus on just being just friends. That's all. Just be just friends with them. But when you focus on being just friends with them, what you end up doing is setting yourself up in the friend zone. They end up looking at you like, oh, this person's clearly not interested in me. This person just wants to date. And I'm sorry, I got distracted by Darkest Night said, you should debate Face and LMS. I'd love to talk to him. I don't know if we'd really debate. Most likely we'd probably agree on a lot of things. But yeah, definitely I'll reach out to Face and LMS. I'd love to hear his perspective on things, Darkest Night. So like I said, if you go into that interaction just being friendly and not just aiming to be friends, then they're going to friend zone you. They're going to think that you're not interested in them. If you like someone and you want to date them, you should show them that you like them. You should be flirty with them. You should ask them out. Those are signs of being friendly, of learning about them, but you're letting them know, hey, I actually want to develop something with you. It's important for them to see that if you actually want to be in a relationship. And point number 5 is this. People say this all the time. There's someone out there for everyone. It's this idea that, the perfect person is just going to come into your life. They're just going to appear. But the truth is, you may need to extend your reach. You may need to look outside of your friend group. You may need to look outside of your city, outside of your state, outside of your country. There are so many people in this world that you could potentially meet, and it is a matter of doing the work and recognizing that there's going to be failure along the way. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be heartbreaks. But there's also going to be learning. There's also going to be growing. And there's also going to be gaining knowledge of how to interact with other people. And on that note, guys, brings us to our mindful moment. What I love about our mindful moment is, first, I get to hit the bell, which is awesome. And second, I think it gives us a moment to kind of take in all the things that we talked about on this live stream, to really, really think about some of the points that were shared, some of the, in my opinion, bad dating advice tips, and hopefully, if you agree with me, some of the positive dating advice tips that, I could try that. Yeah, that's something I should work on. Yeah, that's something I never thought of. What I want you guys to ultimately think about, and I think this goes back to something that a few of you guys said here, is that I think that there's a common feeling sometimes that you might not be good enough, right? You might not be someone deserving or worthy of being loved and cared for. And I think that in order for people to learn and care about you, they need to see the real you. They need to see that you're open and honest and vulnerable. And they also need to see that you're willing to work on yourself. So what I want you guys to realize now, I want us all to close our eyes, and we're going to take 10 seconds, just 10 seconds, to think about ourselves and repeat to ourselves. You don't have to say it out loud, but you could say it inside. Say it to yourself. Everyone close your eyes. Close our eyes and we'll say this together. I am deserving of love. I am deserving of kindness. I matter. I'll take 10 seconds to think about that, guys. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this live stream. I want you to realize that you are deserving of love, you are deserving of kindness, and you do matter. And a big part of being your best self is first and foremost recognizing that and working towards being somebody great. Thank you guys again. Azim, thank you for the $2 super chat there. Azim said, Josh, you the best. Love and peace to you. Love and peace to you too, Azim. I appreciate you, man. Hamish says, bell time, yay. A £2 super chat. Thank you for the bell time, man. I appreciate that as well. Thank you guys for being a part of this live stream, being a part of this discussion. I really enjoyed it. I love talking to you guys and getting your feedback. Join me over on Instagram for the Instagram after party. Let's keep this party going. And thank you guys again. Stuart and Darkest Night, I know you guys are sharing back and forth comments. I'm gonna go back and read some of it. But yeah, guys, thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. As always, love and peace. See you guys then. Bye. Oh wait, I gotta close it before I don't awkwardly sit here for like 10 seconds. See you guys.